critical meetings that we have as Parliament. So, honorable members, the meeting will be from 8 o'clock now until 5 o'clock this afternoon. When we do have load shedding, can we please ensure that you can be in an area where you can follow the meeting for as long as possible? We also have, as parliamentarians, we have the opportunity to do mobile hotspots. So I am begging honorable members that they do mobile hotspots and that they try to be in the meeting for as long as possible. What we will do is that we will allow the SAPS and the Civilian Secretariat to do their presentations. SAPS has an hour to an hour and a half because this is SAPS budget is the second largest budget in the country. I hope we understand that this is the second largest budget in the country, and we have to give it the importance and the necessary priority that it deserves. Babawa, could I have an indication of the apologies, please? Please, honorable members, this is the last budget hearing of the committee. Can I please indicate to you that this is the last budget hearing of the committee? I asked you in the previous meeting, we had a break, we had sufficient time to look at the legacy report. I indicated in the last meeting that we will be evaluating the legacy report. The legacy report is not a report of an individual. It was tabled with the announcements and tablings and committee reports on the 30th of November 2018. After today's meeting, which is our oversight function and our annual budget meeting, which is also the committee's last budget hearing, we have to prepare for our legacy report, which is a report of the work of the 5 years of this committee. I have received an apology from Dr. Groenewald. He'll be joining us at 9. Could I have the rest of the apologies? And if we have a quorum, please, Babawa.
Good morning, Chairperson. Yes, we do have quorum. I received 2 apologies from Ms. Molekwa and Ms. Marekwa. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Babawa. We have all our members. We have a quorum. May I have the agenda flighted, please? In the meantime, while we're waiting for the agenda, could the members and the public as well as SAPS, could you please identify your gadgets properly? This is this is the committee's last budget hearing. So please, I cannot at my last budget hearing still ask you to name your gadgets correctly. There's a 2181. Can you please name and identify yourself correctly? We have the adoption of the agenda and the apologies, the opening remarks. That is short. You can go down, please. Could I have a full screen, please, Babawa? Babawa, could I have a full screen, please? We will do the adoption of the minutes of the 22nd of March. On the staff reports, I have received all the staff reports. I'm still waiting for the report of Mr. Lobby. Mr. Lobby has probably only attended one oversight visit. He has to provide doctor certificates for why he has not received, because he tells me he has a chronic illness. He doesn't attend any oversight visits. It has made the work of the committee extremely difficult. Can it be noted in this minutes of the next meeting that Mr. Lobby has not submitted any reasons for his apologies or any medical certificate for his chronic illness? The staff reports, I have now received very good reports from Babalwa, from Nicolette, from Nobesutu. Thank you very much for those good reports. It will now be compiled into one report. We are also then going to be compiling the report, the legacy report of the committee. The legacy report will be tabled before the committee before it goes to Parliament. And Nicolette has already started that legacy report. We'll circulate it to members for their inputs. Honorable members, this will stand as a record for what we said we had set out to do and what we have done. We 5 years ago, we said we're going to do 6 particular amendment bills. Of those 6 amendment bills, we haven't done anything or much. Those that we did do were not on the priority 6 amendment bills that we stated we would do. So that is the kind of things that we will report on in the legacy report. What the after the adoption of the minutes, I'll do the SAPS annual performance plan and budget for 23-24, and then I will do the presentation of the civilian secretariat. SAPS will have an hour. If within that hour they are still not done, I'll give them additional time. As I said, the meeting will be from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock. The SAPS presentation will be followed by the presentation of the civilian secretariat, and then I will start with questions. Each member will be given a half an hour to pose their questions. After the half an hour, after each member has spoken or given their questions, if they want to give one question and they want a response, they will be allowed to do so. You have a half an hour to engage with the ministry, SAPS, and the civilian secretariat, after which your responses will be given. Please note, I will not be taking 1 or 2 questions from all members. Each individual member will have at least an hour with the National Commissioner and with the Minister. You will have an hour today. This is our last, as I'm repeating, it's our last budget hearing. You have all the time today. If we have to go beyond 6 o'clock, we will go beyond 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So please prepare yourself. If you have to go to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight, that is exactly what will happen. Could I have the minutes of the 22nd of March, please? Before I have the minutes, could I have a proposal for the adoption with the explanations I have given as the chair? Do I have a proposal for the
Shaky
adoption
Mom
of the
moves.
minutes?
Shaky
Hello?
Mom moves.
Shaky Mum moves adoption. Do I have a seconder?
Kosa seconds.
Kosa and Siabe seconds. It means there's a unanimous acceptance of the manner in which we will conduct the meeting today. Please, honorable members, note that if we do not complete by 5 o'clock, we will continue until we have completed the meeting and until all our members have exhausted their concerns and their questions. If it means that we finish by 9 o'clock, that's exactly what I'm going to do today. We have the minutes of the 22nd of March, page 1. Page 2. You received these minutes. Do you have any corrections? Page 2, page 3, page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 6. The closing remarks. Is that the last part? Page 6, the last is page 7. Babawa, you cannot have the meeting adjourned at 10:47 on one line on one page. Which meeting adjourned at 10:47? On page 8, you just have the meeting adjourned. For your records, you have go to page 8, Babawa. On page 8, you have the meeting adjourned. What meeting adjourned? On one clean page, you have the meeting adjourned. Nicolette and Babalwa, could that be corrected, please? If you have the meeting adjourned, you have to say which meeting adjourned. Could we accept the minutes with that correction? Nicolette and Babalwa, you have to say which meeting, put the date as well as which meeting it is that adjourned. Do you understand? Could we make that correction, please? If you leave it as the meeting adjourned at 10:45, it doesn't say which meeting adjourned. It could be a staff meeting. Honorable members, do we have a proposal for the adoption with those corrections?
Good morning, Chair. I propose for the adoption.
Honorable Peacock, and then I saw Siabe's hand. Do we have a seconder with those corrections?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Siabe. You can remove the agenda now. We can have that correction where we specifically state that it was the Portfolio Committee with a date that adjourned at that time. Honorable members, do I have a proposal for the acceptance of the apologies?
Sheikh Imam, thank you.
Sheikh Imam proposes acceptance of the apologies. Do I have a seconder?
Second, Chair.
Honorable Siabe, our whip seconds the acceptance of the apologies. The apologies are accepted. Honorable members, before I start, SAPS, could you prepare yourself for your presentation? I will give the minister an opportunity to introduce the SAPS presentation. Once we are done, I'll give the minister an opportunity to introduce the civilian secretariat presentation. Allow me to congratulate the minister and his team, Honorable General. Your team did very well when it came to the alleged threat of a national shutdown. We saw that the JCPS cluster, as led by our minister, worked in a coherent fashion, and that coherent fashion in which you worked, General Minister, as well as the coordination between you and your colleagues, which you led as the chair of that cluster, was an example of what we need to do to fight crime and corruption in your country. We are very proud that as our SAPS, we responded in an effective and efficient way. And this was a huge improvement after the experiences we had in the July uprising a few years ago. So we would like to see that kind of activity and that kind of program of action and working relationship in the JCPS cluster, which was a great success. Honorable Minister, over to you. You are given an opportunity to introduce your budget and annual performance plan. You are allowed, Minister, the opportunity to speak, and we haven't met each other for a long time. So you are now given ample opportunity to introduce the SAPS budget and annual performance plan. Honorable Minister, you have time. You can speak for, please don't speak for half an hour, Minister. But I won't stop you, Minister, but not a half an hour, please, Minister.
No, thanks. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning to the National Commission, the management of the South African Police, Deputy Minister of the SAPS, Chair, indeed, I don't need a lot of time to speak. One will have to give the time so that the budget and the performance plan of the South African Police is put and we discuss on those things. But having said that, Chairperson, we have been trying to work as the police to deal with the matters of crime and the safety of the communities, trying to see if we can put things in structure and try to put things in a better path of correcting and doing things in a corrected way. A lot of wrong things have happened in this organization, Chairperson. We will know that at a certain given point, we would have a lot of contradictions, especially when it comes to some divisions of the organization. You remember that for a very long time, we stayed without the head of the crime intelligence. Was suspended. They stayed in suspension for 8 years. Then the other one was employed, and again there was that suspension. So it's an area where we have been really weak when it comes to that administration and management of it. As such, too many things have happened that should not have happened there. Unfortunately, most of the reports of that element, Chair, as you would know, they would go to the other committee, the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. It could not be, unfortunately, openly shared with the platform where we are. But those corrections have been made. We do have the head of that division on a permanent basis now. You remember, Chairperson, that there was some form of a cleanup of the police when even the head of the Hawks was taken out. That was dramatic, and around that, quite competent people were taken out of this organization. One of those people that was taken out of this organization is the head of the Hawks as we speak, who was also sanitized out of the organization. He's there now. Then, as such, quite many things went wrong that were supposed to have been corrected and put the organization of better footing. You remember that even people that are highly decorated, like the KZN PC, who is a decorated police when it comes to specialization and special forces of this organization, were also taken out at one time, had to go and look at the property matters, look after the walls rather than looking after the crime in the country. But Chairperson, that led to things not happening and they're supposed to happen. One big outcome of those behavior was the question of the DNA, where for some reason, better known to those who could not do or who did things otherwise, things like not renewing about 16 contracts to run the program of DNA in laboratories, all of them, biology, chemistry, and forensics and all that. It took us on a serious back foot when there was a long list of backlog and the crimes like rape, the assault on sexual assault matters could not be resolved in a proper way, scientific and otherwise, because of the weakness of that environment. Chairperson, we are proud and we're very thankful to the support, including this committee, that we have found to say we believe that is corrected. The enforcement, the capacitation of that environment has been made better. We can still do well, and I'm sure you remember that in a few weeks you have been on the oversight visit. You saw what happened in Kabeja. That is one of the best outcomes of the efforts that we have put in place. We have gone to KZN. There is a lot of work to be done there. Cape Town, we can't say much about Cape Town, is the best example we have together with Pretoria. So we believe that environment, not again, will go where we come from. The other problem that has been faced by this environment policy, Chairperson, for some reason, whenever the money was needed, it was the first place to cut. Yes, indeed, the whole security cluster, but police themselves, and you could find that there is no growth. There was only the reversal on the functioning of the police, both personnel and the equipment. As such, the personnel in this organization, which, by the way, one major function of this organization is what you call visibility. For you to have visibility, you need to have members, you need to have police at the stations and other environments.